Hi, my friends, and welcome back to the 52 Sunday Dinners Project. We are at the 19th Sunday dinner already. For those of you who haven't watched before, we're taking this cookbook. This is the 52 Sunday Dinners from Women's World magazine in 1924. They've scoped out a menu for every Sunday, keeping economy and seasonality in mind. So we're going week by week and recreating each of these menus. So we are at week 19, and here's what's on the menu today. We don't have an appetizer, so we're starting with fried chicken and creamed gravy. Then on the side, we'll have creamed new potatoes, new peas. There are hot raised rolls. However, we've made these, I don't even know how many times already. So I will have a gluten-free roll. I'm trying out a frozen brand to see if I like it or not. So I'll have that to give the impression of having a roll with the meal. But we've made these enough at this point that we're just going to skip over them this week. If you'd like to see them being made, I'll go ahead and link a few other videos where we try and recreate these, and you can see it there. Our salad for this week is a lettuce salad. Along with that, we'll be making a sour cream dressing. For dessert, we'll have a poinsettia white cake, and with that comes an eggless white icing, and on the side of that, we'll again have strawberries and cream. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Ashley. I'm a registered dietitian with a love for everything vintage, and that's led me to this project here. If you like what you've heard so far and you'd like to join us, we're gonna go ahead, get into the kitchen, and start on that cake. A little trick I learned, I don't know where I learned this, somewhere on the internet, I'm sure, in some sort of a YouTube video, is when you need your butter to be softened, if you heat up a glass, like I just boiled water, poured it in here, let it get hot, dumped out the water, and then put the warm, humid glass over top of my stick of butter here. And now, hopefully, it will be softened. I'm telling you it's softened. I'm going to go ahead and start into this, and it's going to end up being like, ooh, no, it is beautifully softened. It's perfect. So I don't like to microwave it because then it melts halfway and other parts are hard. So if you just stick a warm glass over top of it, it'll bring it up to room temperature within a few minutes. Now I did a second round on this, so you might have to do 2 rounds, but overall that's the best trick I've learned so far. Our butter and sugar is nice and creamy, as in hard sauce, I think. I guess I don't know what hard sauce is supposed to be, but it seems like it could be a hard sauce. We have already sifted our flour, and I'm using the 1-to-1 Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour for this. And it's been sifted 3 times already with the baking powder and the salt. So we're gonna go ahead and measure that. 3 cups in here. We have our cup of whole milk there that we're going to alternate. And then we also have our beaten egg whites there that will fold in as well. Last step is to fold in the egg whites. Just kidding, I forgot we have to add some flavor. So we're gonna use vanilla for this one. It doesn't say how much, but I guess that much should be okay. Swirl it in there. When it said a tube pan, I actually was not sure what a tube pan was. I was thinking like an actual tube or something, and I thought, well, that would be a mess. That doesn't make sense. So I Googled it, and I believe they just want an angel food cake pan. I hope that that is correct. I inverted the pan so that this cake would cool the way you guys suggested, and it fell right out. I think it looks pretty perfect. I have high expectations for how this is going to taste. If you would have asked me just looking at the recipe and our history of how some of our cakes and cookies and different things have turned out, I would have said, I'm guessing it's going to be bad. But looking at it now, I think it looks pretty great. What do you think? This definitely doesn't seem like enough butter to me. This is a tablespoon melted, but we'll see. Maybe with the addition of the flavoring, it will help thin it out a little bit. But we have our powdered sugar. Just gonna start mixing this all together. Okay, I did it again, obviously. Somehow I missed the 2 tablespoons of water that we were supposed to melt this butter in. So that ought to help it out. You guys need to just come here and read these recipes to me while I'm doing this, because somehow I get it in my head that I know what I'm doing and I just plow ahead and do it. And I mostly read the recipes completely before starting, and somehow I don't know, I forget some of the steps or just ignore them, or who knows. I don't know. I don't know where my brain is with some of this stuff. But looking at it now, that seems much more likely, but now it kind of seems like maybe we need a little more powdered sugar. I added a little bit more powdered sugar, and we did, I believe, vanilla in the cake, so we'll do almond flavoring in the icing. Well, I assume we are only supposed to ice the top of this, not the sides. And again, I assume things wrong often, but it just doesn't seem like there's enough icing here for it to be all the way along the sides. It seems like it's only enough for the top. So I think that's all we're going to do. We're going to try our best at making poinsettias on here. I will say, I think this is a little odd for May to be doing a poinsettia cake. Poinsettias are something that I associate more with Christmas, I suppose, or I mean, maybe that's just me. What do you guys think? All right, there's the finished cake, and I don't think it looks too terrible. The top kind of reminds me of a Christmas sweater. We have our sour cream here, and the rest of our ingredients I have measured right here to mix in. But it's occurring to me as I'm mixing this, I wonder if they meant sour cream like this sour cream that we think of, or as we've talked about sweet milk versus sour milk, those sorts of things, did they mean cream that has gone sour? Or maybe this is just what cream that has gone sour is. I'm not really sure, but I'm wondering if it should be this thick or if it should just be cream that we've let sit and go sour a little bit, like maybe a clabber or something. It has kind of almost an Easter color to it. There's a little bit of yellow from that mustard and a little bit of the red flecks in there. It's kind of pretty. For our new peas, I think we talked about this the last time. I believe that they were asking for new peas or some type of peas. I can't find new peas anywhere. I found sugar snap peas and snow peas as well, but not new peas. So we are just going to go with frozen. Previously, I think I had used canned new peas, but several of you suggested using frozen instead because they are much closer in flavor to what fresh would be compared to canned. So we're gonna go ahead just with regular frozen peas. As soon as this boils, we'll add the butter and the seasonings and we'll be good to go. I'm finding the instructions comical. They want us to see the recipe on page 64, which I'll put up here, which is not a recipe for boiled new potatoes. It's just a recipe for boiled potatoes. It doesn't say anything about creamed. It's talking about larger potatoes. I don't plan on paring these at all. The skin is so thin that I don't think it really necessitates pairing. So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave the skins right on there. All right, now for the part of the meal that I have been looking forward to and so excited about, the fried chicken. And it's actually fried chicken this time. We don't have to pour a bunch of water over top of it and make it soggy and bake it. We are actually just going to fry it. So on the stove here right now, in my deep-ish iron skillet, I have, for the majority, shortening in there. I have some butter and a little bit of, I think vegetable oil might be in there too. I have some of the 1-to-1 Bob's Red Mill flour, what was left over after sifting, And then I have some sorghum flour in here as well, along with some spices. Now normally, I don't know how you guys do yours at home, but normally I would do a flour dredge, then I would do an egg wash after that, and then either flour or breadcrumbs after that. As you can see and probably hear, we are still frying the chicken over there, and we have quite a few pieces left to fry, but we are ready to try everything. So I just transferred a little bit of the grease into another pot here to make the gravy, and we're gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, it is instructing us to put the gravy down and then to put the chicken on top of the gravy. Now I can say this is definitely not a way I've ever had fried chicken, but we're gonna try it out. All right, now for the best part is the eating. And I know earlier I said I don't have somebody else to try out the rolls or anything with me, but someone just stopped by and they are hungry, so they're willing to eat. They just aren't willing to be on camera. So they're gonna give their opinion, and we're going to, I guess you'll get two perspectives of things. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with the fried chicken. Probably the polite thing to do would be to cut into this with a fork and a knife, but I don't know how you eat your fried chicken. That's not how I eat this type of chicken. I just bite right in. I'm excited to try it out. It smells really good. My house smells really good right now. It smells like frying chicken, but let's give this a shot. The chicken is pretty good for being just a lightly coated fried chicken. Now, I will say, it's not as good as the chicken I'm used to at this point in my life. I think I mentioned before I double coat mine and make that skin a lot crunchier when I do fried chicken. But for just a very lightly coated, lightly seasoned chicken, it's not half bad at all. Now, I expected this to be my favorite chicken recipe so far, but I actually have to say some of the chicken recipes that we've had before where I have lamented about having to coat them in water and bake them, they actually might taste a little bit better than what this is here. Now, my friend that stopped by also said they thought it was good. Not great, but good. So we're gonna give this one, it's fried chicken. You can't go too wrong with it, but it isn't the best fried chicken we've ever had. Now let's go ahead and get into the sides. Now we didn't cream the potatoes. And at first I thought, okay, do I make that light cream sauce that we made for all of the other vegetables that we do? And then I looked at the gravy recipe and I thought, well, maybe we should just have the potatoes with the chicken gravy. And I think that's the right choice. So we're gonna go ahead and try those together now. It smells a little plain, but not bad. Yeah, I'd say it's good. Not my favorite. It just kind of tastes like a salted potato that has a little bit of gravy on it. Now the gravy is also a little bit bland-ish. Now we could season it more, but I think by removing that shortening and putting it in another bowl instead of draining it off of the skillet, we're missing out maybe on some of that fried chicken flavor in that, you know, the stuff that you would pick up from the bottom of the pan that you're using. So maybe that's why, maybe if we would have done it as we were supposed to do, it would have a little bit more flavor that way. Let's try the peas. The peas are good. They're a little bit sweet, starchy. This all tastes very good together. I don't know that normally if I would do fried chicken, I don't know that peas would be what I would put on the side. I think of fried chicken more like maybe picnic food or barbecue food or something like that. These aren't the things I put together with it, but they go together okay right now. My counterpart kind of agreed. They thought the potatoes were okay and the peas were pretty good. So I'm gonna try this roll. We had a gluten-free roll. I forget what brand it was. I'll go back and look and let you know, and we'll see. I'm gonna say it doesn't seem very promising. It feels rock hard. I've baked it as it has told us to. I don't know what I'm gonna be able to bite in. I'm trying to press it right now, and it kind of feels rock hard. Let's see what happens. Ooh. If you want to go ahead and look inside there, it's just a very dry, hard crust, and then just a little bit of softer dough in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and say I probably wouldn't buy this brand again. Yeah, there's no redeeming this. Up next is our salad course, and we have our just lettuce salad with our sour cream dressing. All right, let's see what sour cream dressing is like. That is a lot different than what I expected. It's good, but it reminds me of like if you took shredded lettuce and some sort of a dressing for a hoagie or something and put it on like that. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of dressing for a hoagie and the lettuce as the shredded lettuce on there. Like I feel like I should have some deli meat or something and some cheese to go along with this, maybe some onions, but it's good. It is very good. It just doesn't remind me of an actual salad dressing as much as maybe a sandwich dressing. Now, my counterpart is not a big fan of sour cream, so I didn't really like this salad, but if you like sour cream, if you're someone who enjoys kind of that tanginess, I think you would really enjoy this. But I think you probably would want to add some more vegetables or something other than just lettuce to this salad and kind of bulk it up like that. This would be really good on a chef salad. All right, our poinsettia white cake here. Let's see. You can see what it looks like on the side. And we also have the strawberries and cream for dessert. We had, I think 2 weeks ago, we also had that. And I think this is probably supposed to be an either or kind of dessert, but we just did both instead. All right, so let's give this a try here. Now, my counterpart has described the texture as interesting. They said it's a little bit cakey, a little bit spongy, just a little bit different. And I didn't tell them that it was gluten-free ahead of time, but they said they could definitely tell that it was. They think that gluten-free things just seem to have a little bit of a different taste, and they can kind of pick out that specific different taste, and they could pick it out in here. So I can smell the almond in here. Yeah, I'll agree on that texture. It's I'm enjoying it, but it's almost like a gummy texture. I think we've talked about that quite a few times before with the gluten-free flours that has kind of that gummy texture to it sometimes, and this certainly does. I really enjoy that, but if you don't, this probably wouldn't be for you. But overall, I think this is a pretty decent success. If we had used regular flour, I think it would be even better. So those of you who are following along, if you make this with regular flour, post it up on the Facebook group. And those of you who haven't joined the Facebook group yet, if you want to, I'll link it down below in the description. Join so you can see and join the conversation and see what other people are doing and talking about there. But let's try it with, we already know what the strawberries taste like. I'll go ahead and link the strawberry video up here if you want to see that. It's not too complicated, but Nani was here for that video, so maybe you will want to see it. But let's try it with the cake and see if maybe they go together nicely. I think they do complement each other. They go very well together. However, I think they're perfectly fine on their own as well. Overall, with this menu, surprisingly for me, I think I like the desserts better than the main meal, and I don't think I usually feel that way. I am a big dessert person, but with these menus, usually I've liked the meals much better than I have the desserts. But I'd say overall, I think for me, this menu was okay. I might give it a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Just everything was just kind of fine. If I lived in 1924, maybe this would be just a knockout success and I would love it all. But now that I'm used to maybe some other things and other flavors, for me, this is, it's okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best. Nutrition-wise, it's kind of the same thing. We have our, chicken, poultry is a nice lean source of protein, but then we floured it and then deep fried it. So not as healthy, and then covered it in gravy. So not exactly the most lean and healthy protein option that we've had so far. And our vegetables were more on the starchy side or covered in sour cream. I'd give this again, maybe a 5 out of 10. Budget-wise, on the other hand, the chicken, relatively cheap, potatoes, peas, everything in here was very, very cost effective. I think overall, we probably paid maybe $40 for this meal for 6 people. If you like what you saw today, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and join us next week where we make pot roast and attempt coconut macaroons. See you then.